Welcome to my daily review. Today is Tuesday, October 14th. We had a interesting day today on the in the markets. The session was kind of topsy-turvy, up and down a little bit, but it was quite interesting as we are now into earnings season. I'm going to get there in a minute. First, I just want to point out the Nasdaq, this big nasty bar on Friday. I think it's in the back of everybody's minds here, this big, nobody wants to get caught up in that again, right? But it rallied back above its moving averages on Monday. You see on Friday it closed 1.4% below the 21. Yesterday we rallied back above it. And then today we closed right at it. What, a half a percent below the 5 and 0.1%. Yeah, I just call that even Steven right there. I'm not going to switch to yellow. I'm going to stay on green because we're in a strong uptrend. I don't want to get it twisted here. Uh, it could pull back to the 50. But dips are being bought. And as long as we're in this strong uptrend and, in spirit, we're still closed right at the 21. So I'm going to get to some of this stuff today that, they're just buying the dips and I'm not going to get too cautious here, too bearish here. 172 points to the downside today, at 0.75%, closed at 22,521. Like I said, closed right at the 21, 2.3% above this rising 50, and it stands to reason since we've had our last earnings season, this thing has just been straight up, right? I mean, this has just been doing this since July, August, September. There was a little bit of profit taking ahead of the Q3, and into Q4, and then we've been rallying, and now ahead of earnings season, it stands to reason, fund managers would lock in some profits as we don't know what Q4 earnings will hold. I think they're going to be pretty strong in the certain areas that we follow for sure, the growth names. But you never know. So it's always wise to take profits. You're not going to get hurt taking profits. So a little bit of profit taking these last, few sessions. I did want to get into earnings though, because I did mention that earnings season started and we're hearing from the banks now. Citigroup had a nice response, 4% move higher right there at that 100 level. And Wells Fargo was a big mover today, 7% or more. Yeah, nice move. Undercut the 50, rallied back above. Yeah, it's a really strong move for a $270 billion bank. Wells Fargo is a big kahuna. And so that had a nice response. Goldman Sachs, not so much. I mean, down 2%, not a big deal. This thing, if we just look over time, I mean, this thing does nothing but go higher. It's kind of like the index just keeps going higher. And then JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon is a little cautious, I would say, not negative. He was just kind of cautious about the environment. And he's a little worried about, some of the froth in the market. And, Alan Greenspan said irrational exuberance in 1996, and the market rallied 4 years more until we really had the market crash. So this thing could go on for a while, and I wouldn't put too much credence into what one individual is saying about the market. Just know that we're in an uptrend and the dips are being bought. All right. The Oracle AMD news really kind of hit hard, a little harder than I thought it would. Oracle today announced they're going to buy a bunch of chips from AMD. Oracle, I kind of like this setup here. It's not it gapped higher on earnings and it got into the below the gap day low, but it traded up above its downtrend line, then today pulled back. So it's really been choppy. But the news that they're going to buy from AMD chips helped AMD a little bit. And I just want to point out here with AMD, if you're long AMD, I know a lot of people expected more today, but it was up, a tremendous amount last week, 30%. All right. So if it just has an inside week this week, which it'd be pretty hard not to. But I mean, look at the massive volume. You just had the biggest week with the biggest volume in a long time, and now you're getting a little paltry volume. I know it's only been 2 days and an inside week, so this thing kind of needs to rest and sit here, right near that old high of 227.30. And I think eventually it's going to take out that 240.10. I mean, eventually soon, it's not going to take forever, but maybe a week or two of just digesting that 31% move last week. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about AMD. It looks totally fine on the weekly. The daily, just pulled back to the 5. You can't expect it to be making 30% moves every week. So just relax, let it rest a little bit. AMD looks fine. But yeah, that was big news that impacted a lot of stocks. When the Nasdaq's down, 0.75%, the stocks that are going to move it. This one was impacted by that news. I was a little surprised by this. I was a little surprised that NVIDIA got hit so hard by the Oracle AMD news. 4.5% move down to the 50 here, which I'm pretty sure that's going to be bought up in the coming days. So that to me, that's if you liked it up here at 185, you should love it here at 180 here. I think NVIDIA is going higher for sure. Amazon, of course, this is another one that's going to drag the index down. This one's pretty weak. Meta is another one. Yeah, these ones are just dragging the indexes down. So when the index is down, these big kahunas are the ones that are dragging it. And then Apple, of course, is flat in the session. I still like this setup, and I'm seeing a lot of stock setup and bases here. Doesn't mean they're all going to work, but I mean, when you see NVIDIA and Apple and Microsoft, just a lot of these tech stocks, and IBM looks pretty good here set up. CrowdStrike and Zscaler. I'm going to get to these in a minute. Yeah, Palo Alto Networks. These are all set up in bases here. I'm not saying they're all going to work, but I'm seeing a lot of stocks setting up. So ahead of earnings season, some profit taking is fine. I think they're going higher. I mean, I don't make a prediction, but that's my expectation. And expectations can be broken, as we know. All right, some of the other names that got hammered with that Oracle AMD news was STRL. My God, 19%. Wow, just slice the 50 with volume. That's adios, muchachos. That's a vertical violation. And yeah, I'm really surprised that that news hit that stock that hard. CRDO got hit, I know as well. It's below the 50, yeah, 13.5%. This looks like a total overreaction. But you don't want to get in the way of selling. We must respect the selling. But yeah, some of these really got hit hard today. Arista Networks hit sliced the 50 with volume today. Man, those do not look good. I must admit. So those ones got hit on the Oracle AMD news. And Larry Ellison speaking, the keynote speaker at the AI Artificial Intelligence Cloud Investor Day for Oracle, and I'm sure he's going to make a big splash. He's not going to show up just to, chit chat. He's going to have some news. Some of the speculation is, well, I'll get to it a little later on, but there's probably going to be some deals made. Because first, I want to get to these mineral stocks. These things have gone parabolic. AREC, up 37% on just, speculation. USAR, all of these are just, flying. This one was up, 44 yesterday, pulled back to the 5 today, and then bounced. I want to see what that looked like. I missed this one. Yeah, it just pulled back in the morning, then rallied hard. So, yeah, you could have bought that dip at, 33.73, and it ran right up to almost $40 in a very short period of time. These things are super hot. CRML, another one, just gap in and go, man. Gap and go. Look at this. This is just absolutely bonkers. And it's all speculation, right? TMQ is another one. The mining minerals stocks. Of course, MP is one of the favorite ones there. Hit 100, then pulled back a little bit, got the Matambo treatment at 100. And then UU, I had a friend who went short this morning. And I said, you don't want to be shorting the strongest stocks in the market. And so he covered. It was down at the open, and right away buyers came in. He says, I'm out. I got a quick profit. I'm out of here. So yeah, I don't try to short the strongest stocks in the market. And these ones are just way too strong to even think about shorting. All this one did was come down to the 5 and bounce. So yeah, super strong names. Oh, what other ones do I have here? Oh, what else do I have? AQMS. I don't even know what these things do, to be honest with you. They're just ticker symbols. Up 200% today. I don't know. That's a chemical stock. Okay. And then BTU, which Peabody Energy says it's a coal stock, but like METC, these things are, excuse me, METC, which is Ramaco Resources, is a mineral play. So these things are just going bonkers. Yeah. And So since I'm on that, I might as well go to these gold, gold, copper, silver, and mineral mining, metals and mineral plays. This is Ivanhoe. It IPO'd here back in what, July of 2022, ran up to 1665 and hit there a couple times, 1668, 75, and then what rolled over, right? So this is like your big IPO base. And that's all this is, this whole big spiel, right? And then it comes here and forms this little wedge pattern. Now it's starting to break out, still just right at that old high, and it has not broken out yet, even though it's been really strong off the lows. Yeah, this is just, if you're a Darvish trader, you'd say, maybe 17 bucks, right? And I'm ready to go. But yeah, it's broke out of this space here and ripping hard. Yeah, I like the looks of that one. IDR, Idaho Strategic Resources. This one's got a blend of minerals and gold and exploration stock. This one looks fantastic. Just surfing the five. I mean, these are just so strong. I'm showing you all these parabolic names that are well above their 5 EMA. You can see here 2.5% above its 52-week high. Yeah, just super strong names. What other ones are we looking at here? Come on, help me out, Marty. Oh, CCJ, I had this one on my ready list. This one looks good too. It's up 8% this week. So yeah, I'm gonna have to take that one off. It's getting a little stretched here, although not in comparison to some of the stocks that I just showed you. It's 3.7% above the five. Pretty tough to take a position. That thing's going berserk. And then the gold stocks, Newmont, it was upgraded recently, and this thing's just surfing the five. A thing of beauty, just trading higher. You don't have to hold it very long. You're in the chips. This is Agnico Eagle AEM finding support at the 21, made a new high today. It was flat on the session, but yeah, a lot of these are just looking really, really good. Okay, what else do I have? Oh, I've got to go back to some of these data centers and Bitcoin related, they've been converted into data center plays now. And this is IREN, Iris Energy, and they were upgraded this morning. This one hit 72.30 and then it pulled back. I don't want to get into in the morning. Well, I'll get into it later. How about that? We had a little pullback in the morning. Like I said, oh shoot, since I'm thinking about it, I talked about buying dips, the market's buying dips, and today was the opposite of like a Monday morning gap up where they sell off. Today was a Tuesday morning gap down where they bought it, right? They bought the dip. Powell spoke this morning and he talked about the deteriorating jobs market, which is true. And so that led Wall Street to believe, he's going to cut rates. And it's been kind of in question recently because the inflation data has been a lot hotter than expected, but the jobs data is showing that a deteriorating jobs market, and so that would be make him more inclined to cut. And then at the end of the day, we got a tweet about China and soybeans, and the administration knows the algorithms are going to react to anything positive about China or anything negative. It's going to react one way or the other. The algorithms just are programmed that way, right? So if you hear China trade talks are going well, the market's going to go up, and if you hear well they've been hostile, they're going to go down. So that's what happened today. It doesn't need a reason to sell off, but anyway, I digress. I wanted to go to IREN because it was down in the mornings. What reminded me of it, down in the morning, sold off, right? And then it started bought up all day. And Powell spoke and talked, like he's going to cut rates. The jobs market's weak in it. And then here's your presidential tweet. And but I think these are just blips. These are just little blips that yeah, I can't say disregard. You have to, because they're impacting the market. But I think this thing's going higher regardless of any shenanigans. How about that? A CIFR, another one that I believe is going higher now. A lot of speculation in this one that Oracle is going to cut a deal or announce a deal here on Thursday with Cipher Mining. We'll see. I don't like to speculate that way. I would just say that this thing's surfing the five, and as long as that five is going higher and it stays above the five, you're going to be looking pretty darn good. Wolf, these things kind of trade together. Iris Energy, CIFR Mining, and Terra Wolf had the deal with Google, and it's just been surfing the five ever since. Yeah, it pulled back to the 21 1 or 2 days, and now it's looking a little stretched here at yeah, 10% above. 10.6% above its five. So yeah, these are just super strong names that I'm showing you. And this is where I want to play. If you look at that relative strengths list on my site there, it's at the top of the page. Those are kind of the stocks that are showing well, right? They're showing relative strength. So that's kind of where I want to gravitate to, although they're hard to buy. And in a market like this, a leading stock is going to be very difficult to buy. It's going to make you uncomfortable because you're just always worried about that pullback. Like you buy it and it gives you that little, rug pull to the downside, and then you're going to be underwater. So I get it. But, I think you just got to be in leading stocks. Speaking of which, another theme here in this market is these data center energy plays, and this is a nuclear play. And the stock is absolutely nuclear. I believe this one's going to 200, if not this week, next week, or soon. It's just too darn strong. And every time it pulls back a little bit, it just gets bought up. This is another one that pulled back this morning. I mean, it had a big day yesterday. Let's go here to yesterday's day. It was up 23 points or 16%. Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty big day. So what does it do in the morning? It gaps down. You see some profit taking here, right? I don't know what it traded down to, what, 160, 160? Okay. And yes, buyers come in right away. This is what I'm talking about. Buy the dips on these leading stocks. So if you're quick enough and you want in, you buy at 160, it closes at 174. Even if you bought it 165, and it closed at 174, it's still, a good day. And you have a leading stock that I think is going higher. It's at 10% above its five, but that's the market we're in. I mean, that's you don't get the market you want. You got to deal with the market we have. And so, the market environment is everything. And right now, these strong stocks are just very, they're not going to let you in. They're going to be very difficult to buy. All right. Another one that had my ready list last week or the week before. This one I thought was going to have one, it was 2 weeks ago. As it broke out of that, 95 36 base there. I like this stock. I didn't buy it because I have OKLO, but you can always buy a couple of them. But yeah, broke out of this base, ran up. I thought it would have a problem with 100, and it did for like a day or two, and then it just went through like poop through a goose. Just surfing the five now. If you don't own OKLO or Centris or Bloom Energy, this is a good one, and it's certainly very strong. Speaking of which, Bloom Energy yesterday had news. You can see it broke out of that flag pattern or that wedge or the pennant, whatever you want to call it. Right here is just like right flag, salute the flag, and yeah, broke out today. Tacked on 4%, not bad. I mean, like OKLO, this thing was up a lot on Monday. 23 points or what, 26, 27%. Tacked on another four. Tomorrow's day three, so we'll see what happens with Bloom Energy. I did mention LEU. Centris has been another strong one. Just pulled back to its five today and found support. So yeah, let's see the dip here. Yeah, it just dipped in the morning. And like I'm saying, they're buying the dip here. And this is kind of the same profile, right? They dipped, Powell spoke, the market rallied, and then we had a tweet at the end of the day and it kind of sold off. I think it'll be bought back tomorrow or the next day. GEV, this is one that I do have on my ready list this week. I like the fact that it broke above its downtrend line yesterday. Now, today was an interesting day. I was watching this. I was considering buying it. It really pulled back hard today, and I had some people going, "Oh, look at GEV, man. It was down to 615." Yeah, and then, rallied up. So Powell really pacified the market and gave it what it wanted to today. And I think they're going to definitely lower rates, and that's going to be good for a lot of different sectors and just the market in general. What are their names? VST. This is an energy play that I kind of like here now. So made the high of 216 back on, what is this? August 5th. So it's been more than 2 months of basing, right? Now it rallied up to 219, but now it undercut the 50, and now it's just trading tight. You can see these three moving averages here trading tight next to each other. Today just had an inside day. Man, if I didn't own these energy stocks already, I would definitely be interested in that one. And you could always, buy it for a trade. One other one, when I think of VST, I think of VERT, just kind of the way my mind thinks, but they're not the same, definitely not the same type of stock. One, this is a data center, cooling play. VST is a data center play, but it's an energy, power play. This one broke out of a base, ran up. Now it's just surfing its five, and you got a little bit of a pullback today, and you can see it closed. We're in the middle of this range of the day. 5-minute chart will show that pullback. So yeah, the pullbacks are good for buying in this type of market environment. Just opposite of the gaps up, which are oftentimes sold. All right, I'm going to move on. Let me see. I did the minerals, I did the data centers, I did the gold, I did the energy. Now I got to get to my favorite group, the biotech drug stocks. This is ZYME, Zyme Works. And you can see this group has moved up to the top 10 group, and there's like 800 stocks in this group. And there's a lot of, $1, $2 stocks that are going out of business. So these winners are definitely carrying the group. And this is Zymeworks busting out of this little consolidation pattern, 47 weeks. That's damn near a year. This thing has been consolidating and it's just starting to move out. That one looks very good to me. ABVX. I like this one too, above 92.91. It was up more than 2% today. Not a bad day. I did put this one on my write list here because I believe that's a nice little like a saucer type of pattern, and it wants to move through that. And I'll see how it reacts to the 100 level, but it could just drive right through there like we've seen quite a few stocks do recently. It's not providing much resistance um, for stocks. And I am stoked about Stoke Therapeutics. Big move today, 15%. I was gonna buy this one today and I didn't, as I was busy actually, my dog, I had to take him to the vet. But it's got this little flag pattern going into today. I didn't put it on my ready list, but you can see what a monster this thing's been, like from 6 to 35. Not bad, right? And we'll take that all day long, more than a six bagger in a short period of time. So yeah, Stoke, there's just a lot of them. AQST, this one has been super strong here since breaking out of its base. They had FDA approval and it's just been surfing the five. Now it's up to almost $7. This one took a long time to base here. I want to say I was looking at this thing back in yeah, it's been a year and a half, since it's done this big whoop-de-whoop. You'd call that a not the roller coaster pattern, but a double bottom pattern, right? Double bottom pattern straight up off the lows, little flag here, and now it's running up again. So AQST, I know it's a $6 stock, but I don't care. I like the pattern, and I like stocks that are going higher. I like stocks above their 5 EMA. So that's why I'm showing the AQST today. So there. IONS. This is one of these gap and goes. I didn't include it on my video, but I mean, there's like 100 of them I could have showed. But this one certainly qualifies as it had this biggest volume day ever here on this gap up. Get this here. It's got good sales here. This one's no cheapie. Yeah, gap 35% on September 2, and it just continues and continues and continues to climb higher and higher and higher. So that's another one that I like. RYTM. Yeah, still consolidating within a base. Had a good day here today. I think it made a high above 106.52. Yeah, just barely, but still, this is one that I would, give it a couple days since it made such a big move. Yeah, it's only 3.2% above the five, but I would give it a couple days to kind of flatten out there around that 106 area, 105. That one still looks good. That's rhythm. Anyway, I'm done with the drug stocks. I got to go to these, I guess you'd call it, construction plays, but really this is data center build out, these heavy construction names. Power. I call it power, but it's Quanta Services. Quanta, no crashes, says the Rain Man. Consolidating in a base, pulled back to its moving average. I think this one's ready to rip. Sterling, this is, I would say the leader of the group. Made that high of 376 on September 24, pulled back to the 21, found support. That one looks good. And I got to mention Caterpillar. Big move today. They talked about Caterpillar, JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon was saying Caterpillar is not just these big heavy machinery equipment. They're also a data center build out and power play. So those comments definitely got the stock moving today. Caterpillar broke out of this base here. This flat base is really just acting like a handle. And then there's your breakout week there up $35 or 8%. It's just been moving hard the last 4 or 5 weeks. So Caterpillar looks fantastic. All right, that's it from those stocks. I've got to get to the space names. There's so much working here. ASTS, this one wants $100. Just broke out from this cup with handle pattern. Surfing the 5. That one looks fantastic. Rocket Lab. Same thing. It's a little bit laggier than ASTS. ASTS is a stronger stock, but this one, is a good stock too. Obviously, it's showing well up 4.6% above the 5. So it's no dog. It's just not as strong as the other name. VSAT, this is one, the telecom that I had to throw in somewhere, so I put it in with these other two. Very strong name. You think this is one of the top stocks in the top group, up 238% in the last year. So this is no slouch. And then what else do I have here? Oh, just a couple other names. This is a robotics name. Symbiotic. And I know people who want robotics want the large company Tesla because they have Optimus and they're going to be a big robot player. This is a little robot player. 43 billion, which is not all that little, but broke out of this cup with handle, surfing the 5. And these stocks that I'm showing you are just super strong, very difficult to buy. I get this question all the time, like, how do I buy this? You just you got to just close your eyes, plug your nose, and hit the button buy. And probably within a few days, you're going to be in the chips. That's the way it's been working. I mean, that's not really the way I recommend. I like to buy a base or a pullback, but man, sometimes these things are so darn strong. All right, I did show you earlier these some stocks set up in bases. These Zscaler, CrowdStrike, Palo Alto Networks are cybersecurity names. There's another one, TLS, that I like in this group. Another Gap stock. I don't think I included this one, but it gapped up, what was it, 62% on August 11th, and then continued to rally higher. It was trading with the 5, and then recently it pulled back to like the 21. Now it's trading with the 21, but still a strong name. I mean, the day that it broke out, it was what, $2, $3, and now it's 7. So it's been a two-bagger since the breakout day. TLS, Telos, a cybersecurity name. All right, a couple other names I get asked about a lot. Palantir. Palantir is like, it's like Boeing, it's like government sponsored. They're too big to fail. They're not going to go out of business. And it's just marking time. This thing's going to 200 eventually. They're going to report earnings on November 3rd. So maybe use that as a catalyst. As long as it's above the 50, I'm okay with Palantir. It's not, one of those hot names that I just showed you, one of those momentum stocks, but still, there's some software names that are looking good to me. This is Snowflake doing exactly what it needs to do. It made that high of 250, pulled back to its 50-day line, rallied up back to that 250 level. Now, 1, 2, 3, there's been 3 days of pulling back. Maybe it'll pull back like 5 or 6 days of the 21 before breaking out. I'm definitely watching that one. Datadog too, same kind of thing. Had a 158, then ran up above 158 and made it up to what, 165. Now it's pulling back the last 3 or 4 days. You're going to form a handle. There'll probably be a shakeout. You got to shake out the fools before you can go higher. Shake out, then breakout. So definitely watching Datadog. What else do I have? I think I'm going to stop there. DigitalOcean's another one that I do like. You got to take a step back, look at the weekly chart, and it's kind of been going sideways for a long, long time. But one of these days, it's going to break out, up 8.5% this week. So DigitalOcean is another one in the software group. All right, I've got to go to my my this is one that I'm watching for I'm not going to buy these. Probably not. I might, but I probably won't. This is the area that I'm looking for to crack. When these things are going to crack first, I believe, because this is the biggest bubble right here. These quantum names, Rigetti, this thing's just been on fire, up another 2% today. And then QBTS. Yeah, up 6% today. These things are relentlessly in pursuit of higher prices. They won't back down to Tom Petty stock, but eventually these are way, way, way overvalued. If you want to look for froth in the market, that's where you can find it. My quantum name is IBM. They have Watson for what, like 30 years. They're way ahead of the game. They actually have strong sales and revenues growth in quantum, but whereas the others don't have jack diddly squat. This is a nice handle here. This is exactly what you look for, right? This big cup. It runs up, trial balloon, right? Like a drag racer, just burning rubber, trying to, run that trial balloon up there, seeing how the tires grip, and then pulls back. There's your trial balloon. 301 closes at the low of the session, then sells off 3, 4, no, 5, 6 days in a row, right? And so now people give up on it. It's below the 21. IBM sucks. It's losing me money. And watch, boom, it'll be over 300 before you blink your eyes. All right. That's it for me. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up. Except in honor of the great Steve Jobs, I have a couple of things here. Not one more thing, two things. This morning, Domino's delivered. Earnings, it was up $15 or nearly 4%. You could see it's been like beaten like a dead horse. Like this thing has been down in the dumps. Stage 4 decline. So just want to point that out that better expected uh, earnings and it was rewarded. Also, pizza related. Papa John's International up big after hours as Apollo is making overtures towards taking this one out. Apollo is a private, I believe it's private, maybe not. I don't know. It doesn't matter. They want to buy Papa John's. I'm getting them mixed up with Elliott Management. No, I think Apollo is public. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What would their ticker symbol be? Apollo? No, I'll figure it out. I think Apollo is public. But what I wanted to point out today is the home builders when Powell spoke. Now they've had this beautiful weekly chart, right? This cup with handle pattern, and the thought process was that we're going to get interest rate cuts. It's going to be a slam dunk. We're going to get two by the end of the year. And how many weeks were left in the year? I don't know. 11, 10, 11, 12, something like that. I mean, it's Halloween soon, and Thanksgiving and Christmas or end of the year goes fast. But we're going to get two rate cuts. So that was kind of like the impetus for this big rally. And then now it's not so sure that we're going to get the rate cuts because the inflation data has been a little hot. So they sold off a little bit. And then today, Powell comes in and says, job market's weak. And what did the housing stocks do? They just ripped on that, on his statements. And then, of course, we had the end of the day tweet. But yeah, they really liked what Powell had to say. That's D.R. Horton and Pulte. Same thing with all the home builders, man. They really liked what Powell had to say today. Yeah, and yeah, I think he's going to cut rates, just based on what he said today. And then I wanted to point out open here as it made this low of 691 recently. I forget the day, September 23rd, it made a low of 691, rallied up and then retested that low this morning at 697 and then rallied pretty hard. I was impressed. It was 73% of the daily range. And if I go to like a 30-minute chart, you can see this low here on that date that I just referred to. What date was it, Marty? September 31. You see the low of 691. Today the low was a retest here at 697. So to me, that I'm not going to say it's out of the woods, but that would be an area of interest for me. 691. Then it rallied up. Of course, it's just related to the home builders, so it liked what Powell had to say too, and it rallied up here. So I'm not saying it's out of the woods. It looks like it is, but I can't say, I'm not I'm not great at picking bottoms, but to me that looks like Yeah, symmetrical low there on open. I get a lot of questions about open. So a lot of people are in it, a lot of retail people are in it. What's wrong with open? Well, nothing. It went from 50 cents to $10, you know. So give it a little bit of a break. Pull back. It is below the 21. It's not something that I would buy right here. I think, you know, you got to be from Missouri and say you got to show me and at least rally back through that 20, which I'll get you the price here. 793, call it $8, you know, get back through $8 and we can talk. It does have resistance. If I show you on like a 10-minute chart, maybe this blip here, I did not like that. 960 on $9.60 on October 8th. You can see it rallied up. And then as soon as it hit 960, it just immediately this bar here, that spooked me. I said, adios, I'm out. There's heavy manipulation here. They drove the stock down to that 691 area, and now some buyers come in. So I think it'll definitely have trouble getting through that level there. If it gets through 8, you know, 9 will be another area of resistance. So it's got a lot of work to do. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up.